You know, when we think about the Americas before Columbus, we often have these really simple caricatures in our heads from school. But the real story? It's not one of primitive tribes. It's a story of complex nations, of brilliant engineering, and just profound ingenuity. So today, we're going to dive deep and uncover the truly sophisticated societies that thrived here for centuries.
Let's just start with a question. I want you to imagine you have to build a nation, right now, from scratch. But there's a catch. No steel, no heavy machinery, no computers. How in the world do you build cities, govern millions of people, and create a culture that lasts? I mean, it sounds almost impossible, doesn't it?
Well, the answer is this incredible mix of three things: pure, raw human ingenuity, the power of a tight-knit community, and a really deep, almost symbiotic relationship with the land itself. This was the blueprint, the very foundation for the incredible societies we're about to explore.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute bedrock of any nation, how it's organized. You know, we hear the word tribe all the time, but the truth is the political structures were so much more layered and sophisticated than that one little word lets on.
So, at its core, sure, you have the tribe, and that's a group held together by a common language and shared beliefs. You can think of it like a fundamental cultural and political building block, but that's just one piece of a way bigger puzzle.
So here's how you build a nation from the ground up. It all starts with the individual. That person is part of a family or a band. A bunch of bands come together to form a clan. Then those clans unite to create a tribe. But wait, it didn't stop there. Tribes could then form even larger chieftains, and some even created these powerful confederacies of allied nations. This wasn't just some loose collection of groups. It was a really sophisticated, scalable system of governance. Okay, so you've got these complex social structures in place. But how did people actually live and thrive day to day? Well, the answer is constant innovation. This was a world of brilliant engineering and deep, deep medical knowledge. And it was absolutely essential for both survival and for building a prosperous life. Just take a look at some of this foundational technology. The sewing needle? It wasn't just for patching up a hole. It was critical for making warm, durable clothes that could get you through a brutal winter. Drills and chisels, that was your basic construction kit for everything from houses to the canoes that acted like highways for trade and travel. And large-scale irrigation, I mean, think about the coordination that takes. These were massive public works projects, engineered to bring water to farms and support entire communities. And the innovation wasn't just mechanical, it was biological. These people had access to a vast natural pharmacy. For example, they brewed black willow bark for pain relief. And get this, we now know it contains salicin, which is the chemical precursor to modern aspirin. This wasn't magic or guesswork. It was precise, inherited scientific knowledge of the world around them.
You know, the common thread weaving through all of this, the government, the technology, was this deep, deep partnership with the environment. Success wasn't about conquering nature, it was about working with the land.
Let's just look at diet for a second. For the tribes out on the Midwest plains, the bison was literally the center of their universe. It gave them food, yeah, but also materials for tools, clothing, shelter, everything. Now jump way up north to the Arctic, and the seal played that exact same all-encompassing role. Two totally different environments, two perfectly adapted ways of life. And you see the same principle in their architecture. Up in the forests of the Northeast, tribes built these sturdy, dome-shaped wigwams. They were meant for more permanent settlements. But out on the Western Plains, where you needed to be mobile, they developed the wickiup, a lighter shelter you could pack up and move. Form totally followed function, with architecture designed to fit the environment and the lifestyle perfectly.
So, we've seen how people governed, how they innovated, and how they lived. But there's a huge piece missing. Without a written alphabet, how on earth did they record their history, their laws, and their most sacred stories for the next generation?
Seriously, just think about that for a moment. Every important event, every family tree, every sacred story, it all had to be preserved perfectly. How do you do that?
Well, one of the most incredible answers is the totem pole. Now, these are not just decorative carvings, not at all. They are historical documents. Each figure tells part of a story, representing a family's lineage, a major event, or a creation myth. They're basically giant libraries, just carved out of wood. It's amazing. And then there was another powerful method, the petroglyph. By carving symbols directly into rock, indigenous peoples created permanent records right on the landscape itself. These stone carvings could mark territory, track celestial events, or tell epic stories, preserving knowledge for hundreds, even thousands of years.
So when you put it all together, from these vast political confederacies and clever engineering to natural medicine and libraries carved in stone, it's just so clear, isn't it? The world of pre-Columbian indigenous peoples was anything but simple. These were complex nations, absolutely rich with culture, and built on a foundation of profound ingenuity.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. When we look at this incredible history of adaptation, of social cohesion, and of sustainable living, what timeless lessons in innovation and community can we, all of us, learn from these First Nations today?